Hey guys, so today we're going to talk about factoring trinomials of the form ax squared plus bx plus c. This is called the slip and slide method. Before we do that though, we're going to do a quick warm up on just basic factoring. So what two numbers multiply together to give you 45 and add together to give you 14? Well, 5 and 9. So you do x plus 5 and x plus 9, and that's your answer. Okay, on the next one, what two numbers multiply together to give you negative 28 and add together to give you negative 3? Negative 7 and 4. So n minus 7 and n plus 4. Okay, on this next one, we have a greatest common factor that we need to take out first. So first we're going to divide a 2 out of everything. So 2a squared divided by 2 is a squared. 2a divided by 2 is a. And negative 24 divided by 2 is negative 12. Okay, so then from there, you want to factor the trinomial. So what two numbers multiply to give you negative 12 and add to give you 1? Because if there's not a number there in front of the variable, then it's a 1. And it's going to be 4 and negative 3. So that 2 that we took out, we're just going to bring it down. And then we'll have a plus 4 and a minus 3. And this whole thing right here is going to be your answer. Okay, on number 4, first we have a greatest common factor we can take out. We can divide a 4 out of everything. So 4p squared divided by 4 is p squared. Negative 24p divided by 4 is negative 6p. And 20 divided by 4 is 5. And then what two numbers multiply to give you 5 and add to give you negative 6? Negative 5 and negative 1. So that 4 would check out, we just bring down. We have p minus 5 and p minus 1. And then that's your answer. Okay, so now onto the slip and slide method. Okay, so when a cannot be factored out by a greatest common factor, we can possibly still factor the trinomial. The steps below show a method called slip and slide to factor the trinomials. Okay, so you're going to slip the a, so this part right here, you're going to slip it down and multiply by the c. You're going to factor this new basic trinomial, just like what we did up here, and then divide both of your factors by the value you slipped over in step 1. And then reduce fractions and slide any denominators up next to the variable, distribute to check. Okay, so on this one, so notice we don't have a greatest common factor we can take out, but we still have a number up here. So we have to do slip and slide. So you take the 2, slip it down to the end. That x squared we just pull down. That 5x we just pull down. But then the 2 and the 3 we're going to multiply together. So 2 times 3 is 6. Then we're going to factor this. So what two numbers multiply to give you 6 and add to give you 5? 2 and 3. So you say x plus 2 and x plus 3. Now because we multiplied times 2 up here, once you factor it, you have to divide by 2. Well, 2 divided by 2 is 1, so we have x plus 1. But on this one over here, we have 3 over 2. 3 over 2 does not simplify, and we don't want a fraction. So to get rid of the fraction, you take the denominator, and you slide it right back up in front of the variable. And so it becomes 2x plus 3. And that's your answer. Okay, same thing on the next one. We don't have a greatest common factor we can take out, so we're going to take the 5 and slip it down to the end. So then we have m squared minus 17m, and 5 times 6 is 30. What two numbers multiply to give you 30 and add to give you negative 17? Negative 15 and negative 2. So you say m minus 15, m minus 2. Because it multiplied by 5 up here, we have to divide by 5 here. 15 divided by 5 is 3, so we have m minus 3. 2 over 5 does not simplify, but we don't want a denominator here, so we've got to slide that in front of the variable, so it becomes 5m minus 2. Okay, example 3. Take the 6 and slip it down to the end. So y squared minus 5y. 6 times negative 4 is negative 24. What two numbers multiply to give you negative 24 and add to give you negative 5? Negative 8 and 3. So y minus 8, y plus 3. Because we multiplied times 6 up here, here we have to divide by 6. Okay, now you always first check to see if you can simplify your fractions. Okay, well these fractions simplify. 8 over 6 simplifies down to 4 over 3. So y minus 4 over 3. 3 over 6 simplifies down to 1/2. So y plus 1/2. Okay, now we don't want fractions, so we get rid of the denominators by moving them in front of the variables. So we have 3y minus 4 and 2y plus 1. And that's our answer. Okay, example 4. Slip 12 down to the end. So you have c squared plus 11c. 12 times -5 is -60. What multiplies together to give you -60 and adds to give you 11, 15, and -4? So c plus 15 and c minus 4. Because they multiply times 12 here, we've got to divide by 12 here. Simplify our fractions. 15 and 12 both divide by 3, so it simplifies to 5 over 4. So c plus 5 over 4. 4 over 12 both divide by 3, so it simplifies down to 1. Oh, I'm sorry, they both divide by 4. So it simplifies down to 1/3. So c minus 1/3. Okay, then to get rid of the fractions, take the denominators and slide them in front of the variables. So it becomes 4c plus 5 and 3c minus 1. Okay, all right, flip over to the other side. Let's get some more practice with it. Okay, so on number 1 here, we don't have a greatest common factor we can take out, so take the 3 and slip it down to the end. So we have x squared minus 11x. 3 times 10 is 30. What multiplies together to give you 30 and adds to give you -11? -6 and -5. So x minus 6 and x minus 5. Because they multiply times 3 up here you have to divide by 3. 6 over 3 divides into 2, so x minus 2. 5 over 3 does not simplify, so take the denominator and slide it up in front of the variable. So 3x minus 5. Number 2, we don't have a greatest common factor we can take out, so take the 8 and slip it down to the end. So we have y squared minus 10y. 8 times 3 is 24. What multiplies to give you 24 and adds to give you -10? -6 and -4. So y minus 6, y minus 4. Because they multiply times 8 up here, we have to divide by 8 here. Our fractions simplify. Okay, so 6 over 8, they both divide by 2, so it simplifies down to 3/4. 4 over 8 also both divides, or they both divide by 4, so it simplifies down to 1/2. So y minus 1/2. And then we have to get rid of our fractions. So we have 4y minus 3 and 2y minus 1. Number 3, we don't have a greatest common factor we can take out, so we take the 9, slip it down to the end. So we have m squared plus 3m, and 9 times -2 is -18. Okay, what multiplies to give you -18 and adds to give you 3? 6 and -3. So we have m plus 6 and m minus 3. Because they multiply times 9 up here we have to divide by 9. 6 over 9 simplifies down, they both divide by 3, so it simplifies down to 2/3. So m plus 2/3. And 3 over 9 both divides by 3, it simplifies down to 1/3. So m minus 1/3. Then we have to get rid of our fractions. So we have 3m plus 2 and 3m minus 1 are our factors. Okay, number 4, no greatest common factor. Take the 10, slip it down to the end. So p squared minus p. 10 times -2, -20. What multiplies to give you -20 and adds to give you -1, -5, and 4. So p minus 5, and p plus 4. Because they multiply times 10 up here, here we have to divide by 10. Simplify our fractions down, so p minus 1/2. And then they both divide by 2, p plus 2/5. Then get rid of our fractions. So we have 2p minus 1 and 5p plus 2. Well, hopefully you can read that right there. 5p plus 2. There we go. Okay, all right, let's go down to number 7. Look, you always first check to see if you have a greatest common factor you can take out. We can take a 5 out of all of these to start off with. And so then we're left with 2k squared plus 15k plus 7. Okay, but notice once we take the greatest common factor out, we still have an a in front of the k squared right here that we need to do slip and slide with. So we'll slip the 2 down to the end. So that 5 we take out, you just keep bringing it down, but that's all you do with it. So then we have k squared plus 15k, and 2 times 7 is 14. Okay, what multiplies to give you 14 adds to give you 15? Well, 14 and 1. So that 5 we took out, we just keep pulling it down. We have k plus 14, k plus 1. Now because they multiply times 2 up here, here you have to divide by 2. So that 5 we took out, just bring down. We have k plus 7. 1/2 doesn't simplify, but we don't want a fraction, so we slide it up. So 2k plus 1, and that's our answer. Okay, on number 8, we have a greatest common factor of 2 that we can take out of everything. So then we're left with 6x squared plus x minus 1. Okay, so then we want to do slip and slide. So take the 6, slip it down to the end. That 2 we just bring down. We have x squared plus x minus 6, because 6 times negative 1 is negative 6. Then what two numbers multiply to give you negative 6 and add to give you 1? Well, it's 3 and negative 2. So that 2 we took out, we just pull down. We have x plus 3 and x minus 2. Because they multiply times 6 here, here you have to divide by 6. Okay, we want to simplify our fractions down. Now that 2 we just pull down. X plus 1/2 and x minus 1/3. Now we need to get rid of our fractions. So we have 2, and then we have 2x plus 1, and we have 3x minus 1. Okay, on number 9, we have a greatest common factor of 3 that we can take out of everything. So we're left with 5y squared minus 6y minus 8. Then you want to do slip and slide. So take the 5 and slip it over to the end. So that 3 would just pull down. So we have y squared minus 6y, and 5 times negative 8 is negative 40. Then what multiplies to give you negative 40 and adds to give you negative 6? Negative 10 and positive 4. So that 3 just comes down. Y minus 10, y plus 4. Because they multiply times 5 up here, here we have to divide by 5. Bring that 3 down. We have y minus 2. 4 over 5 does not simplify, so slide the denominator up. We have 5y plus 4. Okay, last one, we have a greatest common factor of 2 that we can take out of everything. So we have 16w squared minus 8w plus 1. Okay, and then do slip and slide. So slip the 16 up here to the end, slide the 2 down. We have w squared minus 8w. 16 times 1 is 16. Okay, what numbers multiply to give you 16 and add to give you negative 8? Negative 4, negative 4. So that 2 we took out, you just bring down. We have w minus 4, w minus 4. Because they multiply times 16 up here, here you have to divide by 16. 4 over 16 simplifies down to 1/4. So you have 2. Okay, now we don't technically have to write this twice right here. So to simplify that down, you can actually say W minus 1/4 squared. Okay, now, but we still don't want a fraction here, so you gotta take the denominator and slide it up here in front. And so that becomes a 2. And then we have 4W minus 1 squared. And that is your answer right there. Okay, so this is the slip and slide method, and you do this when you have a number in front of the, like you have a coefficient on the first term there. So any number that is greater than 1 right there, and you cannot take it out with the greatest common factor, then you do slip and slide method. Okay.